Welcome back to Bounties Network for our daily English grammar recap that we're actually working on. And we're going to be working on 6 words that we think are going to be really important for you to expand your vocabulary. So as we take a look at these words, we're seeing that we're looking at albeit, apocryphal, convial, dichotomy, goad, and impute. And we see here from our word cloud storage memory system that we're going to be examining these words as we go across into this series for our daily recap. If you're new to this channel, please by all means make sure that you hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell so you'll actually be able to get these daily recaps. And of course, you'll see the links into our main course, our Perfect English Grammar course, that is actually in the video description box. So we do welcome you to our lessons today. So let's start with albeit, and you'll actually see 2 keywords sort of in orange below the main word, and those are actually keywords from our sentences, our sample sentences. So we've actually fused the meaning of vocabulary with actually the usage of the word, so that you'll be able to increase your ability to retain these words as you go through the series. We're over 300 words collectively between the daily recaps as well as the main course, which is 25 chapters so far. So as we get closer and closer to our goal of 500, you'll actually be able to significantly increase and expand your words, your wordage. And of course, these are all designed so that you increase your ability with memory recall of words for listening, writing, and recall for the TOEFL and the SAT. So, albeit we see that the keywords are 6 hours, and we see that based on the sample sentence, albeit he was walking for 6 hours, he was able to get home. It's a conjugation actually, meaning despite or in spite of. So that's that would be albeit. So there we have synonym although, and we see a gentleman walking. We're going to be using the picture association here simply to make the association of walking in conjunction with our sample sentence. Albeit he was walking for 6 hours, he was able to get home despite or in spite of. So that is the picture to word association that we want you to make. So that will be albeit. Our next word is apocryphal, apocryphal, and the synonym is fake. And we see picture to word association fake, adjective meaning false and fictitious. Let's see how it's actually used in a sentence. When asked about her position on Russian politics, the president stated an apocryphal hypothesis about the end of the Cold War, adjective meaning false or fictitious. So that would be the second word that we're looking at here. One thing you wanted to make a note of, you can see here that the 2 words that are below the main word, and those are actually taken directly from the sample sentence. And we've actually done that routinely through the entire series, whether it's the main course, volume 1 through volume 3 up to chapter 5 so far, which is 25 chapters total. We've actually deployed the keyword system so that you'll actually be able to hold on to the memory. This is all about trying to implant the memory of these words. We're using blue clouds, orange clouds, red clouds, and as you can see, the next word is convivial, and that means good. Adjective to be social or outgoing. We see here that the Instagram logo is next to it because we wanted to make an association of like social media. So we actually see here it's actually used in a sentence, It's going to be sample sentence. The boys in the band were in a convivial mood. Adjective meaning to be social and very outgoing. So that will be the third word in the series that we're covering today. As you can see, the two cue words from the main sentence were band and mood, and for that reason, you can see the association. The boys in the band were in a convivial mood. Um, Adjective, social, outgoing. And what was the picture to word association? As we stated, that was going to be the Instagram logo, which is very, very common now. If you are using that app, you see that logo all the time. The next word that we're looking at is dichotomy, and that has to do with duality. Now, it's actually in the elbow storage bin. A lot of times you can make an association to one of the storage bins on our the human body representation that we have here. As you can see, we've actually broken down the hair, air, and mouth group, which is the blue group. SSE, shoulder, stomach, elbow group, and then we have arm, wrist, and hand group, which is the red group, and our gray group is a calf, knee, ankle, and foot group. And in this case, we're looking at dichotomy, elbow, and the reason we chose the picture of the elbow is because the definition of the word is division into two parts. And being that the elbow is a joining part between your arm and your upper arm, lower arm, upper arm, and your wrist and your hand, then we wanted to make the picture word association directly to the fact that your elbow is a joining part of the different parts of your hand, and it's also connected to the elbow storage bin. You can always make an association of orange elbow, and that should trigger the synonym as well as the definition. So dichotomy, orange elbow, duality, division into two parts, and we can actually see how it's actually used in a sentence here. The U.S. government often suggests various types of dichotomy structures to disrupt corporate monopolies, meaning noun. It's a noun, of course, division into two parts. So this referenced the fact that they actually use division into two parts, different types of structures to break up monopolies, which generally increases competitiveness in the marketplace. So that is actually the actual meaning of the word in this with respect to dichotomy. And actually you can see the two keywords we chose should trigger, if you read the sentence enough times, you'll be able to quickly snatch these references as a cheat sheet. Dichotomy, U.S. government, monopoly, and that should definitely trigger a whole series of events in your mind with respect to this word, so that it's firmly implanted in your word. You'll remember orange elbow. It is always good to associate the color of the cloud to the storage bin. So that's why we said orange elbow. And so if we simply stare at dichotomy, U.S. government monopoly, we know it's duality, division into two parts, and the picture was of a woman holding her elbow. So there are going to be a lot of different ways that you can use these techniques to increase your memory of these words in preparation for your standardized exam. GOAD, and that has to do with stimulate or coax. Here we have a dog in the field responsible for directing the movement of sheep. So in our sample sentence, we see here the farm dog did everything she could to guide the flock of sheep down the mountain without any loss of life. Verb meaning stimulate or coax. So that will be the next word that we're looking at. And of course, we're looking at impute. The two keywords are revenue and bonus. Let's see how it's actually used in a sentence here. The associate director clarified his stance that he wanted all credit for increased revenue. All consideration should be imputed to him for his bonus review. Verb meaning attribute or to attribute. So it's impute. So let's see how we actually made a picture to word association. A synonym here in this case was credit. And then we do see the image of the credit card, picture to word association, attribute. So if we did our exercise where we actually use our hand to cover the left side and we only look at the synonyms or the definition, try and remember what they're attached to. And these kinds of games that we play with the covering the left and then covering the right will help you increase your retention. These are all different techniques that you can use to firmly map the verb, the word in your mind so that you'll be able to use it whenever you want to. And then also understand the pronunciation of the word, understand the context of the word, and also be able to pull the synonym whenever you need to, because then the synonym will give you a lot more flexibility in using the word in everyday language. So albeit, we're covering the word and then we're looking at the right side, although, and then conjugation, and that was albeit, despite of, or in spite of, fake, false or fictitious, and that was going to be apocryphal, and that would be fake. Outgoing, social, and that was going to be convivial. And then the next one, coax, goad. The next one, credit, would have been going to be impute. So those are different techniques that you can actually use. Oh, we forgot dichotomy, which was duality. And then you can cover the right side, and then if you can remember, albeit had to do with in spite of, and the keywords keywords were walking home. So we have the picture to word association of walking, apocryphal, and that was fake. Convivial, social media was the Instagram logo. Dichotomy, that was duality, so it has to do with the elbow. Goad had to do with stimulate or coax, so we have the picture to word association of goad. So that would have been the dog in the farm with the flock of sheep, and then impute would have been the credit card or credit. So those are different techniques that you can always use, and then of course you can actually go back to the main screen. These are going to be very good for you if you align them in your own way, possibly on index cards, and you can shuffle them around. I assure you that once you remember the story behind the word, and we've been stressing that throughout this entire series, even the course, we stress making sure that you remember the story of the word, because if you remember the story of how the word is used, whether in a sample sentence or a comprehension exercise, that is going to significantly you'll be able to quickly recall the context of how the word is used, its definition, a whole slew of synonyms possibly, as well as the color of the cloud that the word appeared in. You'll be amazed by what will actually happen once you start inputting and using all of these different exercises. You'll remember orange elbow, or you'll remember from previous lessons, such as red cloud for ostentatious. And these are just different triggers that you'll be able to pull back into your memory, because you remember, for whatever reason, attaching the color. In this case, we see a direct attachment of dichotomy to orange cloud or orange elbow. So, and then of course you have the reference to how the actual word is used. There's just going to be a lot of different cues for you to mentally latch onto, which was going to be increasing your ability to remember these words. So we are well over 300 words that we've covered on our path towards completing 500 or 600 or more. that we anticipate that may appear on your standardized exams. And then, always remember down in the video description box that we have the links to the our main course, where we actually cover 12 new brand new words every single in each chapter. So that will be able to help you increase your vocabulary as we make our way through, on our path to 500 or 600 words that we cover in the form of sample sentences, covering their pronunciation, the context of the word, attaching the word in a color cloud for increased memory, and also, of course, right before us are our word cues from each of the sample sentences, which allows us to attach the story of the word behind the sample sentence to the actual word itself mentally in your mind. So the goal is to deeply embed as many of these words as possible, so that if you do see them in reading comprehension exercises or hear them in listening, then it was going to increase your comprehension overall, which will allow you, hopefully, to score better on the respective standardized exam that you may be preparing for. Well, thank you for tuning in for another daily English grammar recap. Please make sure that you hit the notification bell for the next live stream, and have a great day.